your sister and brother or sister-in-law or brother-in-law work for this company. You used to belong to this gym. You're familiar with them, but they don't have any idea who you are. You heard ads. Now you're living in a different state. You reached out to them via cold email. You scraped the right guy's information. Somehow you got it. You got an email in his inbox. He opened it. You didn't get a response, so you hit him again with another email. A couple days later, 2 weeks later.
It was about, I think it was right about a week later, maybe a little bit over a week later.
Okay, so you sent him an email. He opened it. He didn't respond. You sent him another email. How soon did he respond after that second email?
After the second email, it was probably the next day.
Okay.
He responded.
So he wanted to see if you were a little bit persistent. He's looking, reaching. This guy's title generally is he an owner? Is he a marketing manager? What does he do?
So I got 2 email addresses. I got the owner's email address, and then I got the marketing manager's. Both opened it. The marketing manager finally responded back to me.
Do you know if he knows that there's a connection here?
I brought the connection up in the email. So okay. I said I spoke with two of your employees, my sister-in-law and her boyfriend. I put their name in there, and I put their name in bold to try to catch his eye because I wanted him to make that connection. So.
Okay, so they know that there's a connection here. You're a little bit of a referral, if you will. You called, or did he call you?
I called him.
Okay. Did he say, hey, call me at this time, and then you called him at that time?
In the initial email, he wrote me and said, do you have time today or tomorrow? I wrote him back and said, tomorrow's booked. It wasn't, but I said, today's booked. I can schedule tomorrow 8 o'clock. I didn't hear back from him. So I wrote him back in the late afternoon, and I said, are we on for tomorrow? He wrote me back this morning and said, can we push it to 9? And I said, that will work. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does. And you're excited, right?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Okay. Do you want me to be real with you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I let you go on and re-go through that whole thing for 2 purposes. One, to see if you would say anything different than you said the first time. But really, one of the biggest things that most people who engage in a sales thing do is they speak too much. Here's what I want to do. To be able to break down your call, I want you to relax a little bit, okay? I want you to take this negotiation thing we're going to talk about here in a second. I'll go through the whole thing with you, and I want you to put it on a shelf. I want you to slow down just a little bit. We're going to go through this line by line, basically like you and I are reading a play that we're both going to enact, and we're practicing our lines. When you got that email back, how soon was it after you got that, after he sent it, that you responded, today's booked, tomorrow works, roughly?
Pull it up right away because I think I missed it. So I think it sat in my inbox for a little bit.
Good.
But
good, because you basically came off with, I'm buried today, I can't do it today. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
I want you to try and understand this is a long-term relationship thing. You can totally get this deal. No matter what, come hell or high water, that's not the point. It's not the point to make 50 grand a month. The point is to have such a relationship to where when he gets phone calls and emails from other people like you in the future, there's no chance in hell he's ever going to entertain anything because he's in love with you. You can totally land this, and it could be amazing. 50 grand a month, 200 grand a month, whatever it is, 20 grand a month, doesn't matter. Next month, they're the biggest nightmare you could ever possibly imagine, and you lose everything. They're not a great client. So let's back up and let's go through this. My point with this is we're going to show you how to reposture yourself to where this guy wants to take you under his wing, and he wants to make you his trophy. I'm going to give you your little win with him right now. You have to be able to express to him what you do and how you're going to do it for him without, here's my tool belt, and sell him on the fact that when this wins, it's his win. He's the CMO. He's not the owner. The owner wouldn't care whose idea it was. The CMO needs to be able to present to somebody else, unless you can get them both on the call together, which I don't think is going to happen. You need to sell him on the fact that you're the win that he's going to be. Now, we're through that part of the conversation. Does money ever come up on this call?
Money does not come up until the very end. He says he wants a proposal on what my fees would be, or he's curious about the proposal for what my fee would be. And so at that point, I told him what my campaign cost, like one campaign, would be. We are at the end of March. We have a meeting to kind of see where things have gone in our marketing department. And he said, at that point, I would like to have a proposal from you. And when you give that proposal, just keep in mind that there's 41 stores.
So let's call it 40 for round number sake to make it easy on my brain to work with this, okay? Right? There's 40 stores. They pay services to do their advertising. They have contracts in place. They're probably having their conversation at the end of March. Let's see, January, February, March, that'd be Q1. I would imagine their contract with their current provider ends sometime in Q2. So there's a shit ton that you can glean from a very short conversation and knowing the right questions to ask. You told him my one campaign would be $1,500 a month. What did you tell him?
I said my one campaign would be $1,500 a month. I said, now I realize that you don't know who I am. I've come out of nowhere. You don't know what I can and cannot do. So I said I would be willing to show you a campaign for a week to show you the results that I can get for you guys. And that way you are not at risk of dropping money and it not turning out. Because I said I have absolute confidence that I can get these results. But if you feel like you want to see it, then I completely get that. And the reason I kind of put that out there is partially because of the training, partially probably just because I am new to it. So it feels more comfortable for me.
The statement you said, you don't know me, I come out of nowhere, all of those things, never, ever, 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 ever give them anything that they can associate with your name and your voice and doubt. Okay. Ever. You never want to go over and act like we're super buddy because that's totally fake and bullshit. You never want to give them. His mind almost certainly was not thinking, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. He's not thinking that.
Yeah.
He's a marketing officer for a big company, right? He's getting calls like this and emails like this, and he's being advertised to on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. In the mail, he's getting from marketers.
Yeah.
Okay. Never tell him you don't know me. You want to play with all your cards on the table. You want to be able to know how to play your hand regardless of what they've got, come hell or high water. The only way to do that is to know some of these things. So don't give them everything you can offer them. It's called spilling your candy in the lobby, okay? Sandler training from 100 years ago. You don't want to spill your candy in the lobby. You don't want to give them every tool that you've got to negotiate with before they give you the opportunity to negotiate with.
And that's when he went in to ask, like, how much are your fees or how much are your retainers? His level wasn't like amped by any means, but it was definitely a higher energy than it was at the beginning of the call.
So here's what he concluded in short: provided Joshua can perform beyond what he costs. Okay, this is what's going through his mind. I never even thought of breaking our business into 9 different pieces and being able to get people who just want to come swim versus this, that, the other. I never thought we could do that. 1, 2, holy shit, 40 grand a month for our 40 stores is way less than what we're spending now. And provided you didn't tell them that I can prove that my actions drove this person into your business through metrics, you have a total huge negotiating card up your sleeve, if you want to call it that, because His other marketing tactics can't provide that. They don't have the means to provide. Okay, so now we're getting to the good part where I can help you. He's sitting with a basket full of gold that you want, and he knows that you want it. Okay, and his job is to keep you from getting as much of that as possible, because the more he keeps in his basket, the more the company makes, the bigger his bonus is. I'm going to give you a win right now. Almost all of these people live in cost. Almost none of these people live in profit. What I mean by that is he is cost oriented, because other than you and other people like you, the people he has do something like this can't prove profit. The way you set this up, and I'm jumping way ahead, but I want to prove a point with the way this conversation works, is the weekly or the biweekly or the monthly reporting that you and he both review separately and probably communicate via email for the most part, is lead him down the path to grab that understanding on his own, because eventually he'll be like, oh, when he says 30 leads, what he means is these 30 people that came in our store. Holy shit, this is like provable. When he gets to that in his own mind, that will be the shift. And now anybody that comes behind you won't matter unless they do it the way you do it, because now he has a model that he can rely on. Here's the hard statistical facts. Jake, how many clients do you want a month on average? We want to get specifics from him. He's going to say, we're going to start with this one store, and that one store we'd like to have X number of clients from. Okay, on average, how much are these guys worth to you? And on average, how long do they stay? You need to identify that number. If they stay 6 months and they're worth $10 a piece a month, it's $60. If they stay on average a year because they have to buy that, whatever it is, you need to come up with that dollar amount. Okay. Break it down tiered by 10. Let's call it 10, 20, 30, and 41. Okay. I would do the first 10 stores at $1,500 a month, and there's no discount there. If you let me do the 20, then it's $1,375 a month per store each. That's the discount. You do 30 with me, they're $1,250 a month. You do all 41 with me, they're $1,000 a month. This is an outline. Okay. Until you get these numbers back from him, this is not what you propose. You have to get these numbers from him. Okay. Exactly. And again, the only purpose of this is so you can prove to him that numbers work. And then the next part of the conversation is, okay, you say you're going to bring X number of customers to us. We all know what they're worth to us. How do I know that you can do that and that you're going to be able to? Well, Jake, the way this works is each of your store's markets are different. We need to determine how they respond to the advertising. Once we have an understanding of how they respond to the advertising, then we can adjust it and tweak it and adjust it and tweak it. That's why you pay me a monthly management fee to do this, because it's a constant course correction. Each store is going to be different because each market's different. Even if they're in the same little town in the same state, this market A and market B are going to be slightly different. You never tell him that it's a sure thing. You always lead with, it's all based on the market that's responding. It's no different than the Pandora ads. It depends on how they respond to what it is they hear and see. And the way that we do this is I'm on top of it daily, and we adjust and course correct as we go through it. And I keep you in the know. You and I, Jake, are going to share a spreadsheet that I'm going to send you, and it's on Google Docs, and we've both got access to it all the time, and you can see exactly, and I understand how many blah, 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 blah. Whatever that is, you're both in the know, and then you can adjust that moving forward. You have to have how many customers on average does your store need a month? How many on average could your store handle? How long do they typically stay? And how much are they worth monthly? If you can get those 4 numbers, I can tell you exactly how to sell this guy. Because if you can land this one, I will show you how to go get 10 of these and build an agency around it. And you be driving a Mercedes, living in a nice big fat house and not doing it to show off, but because you can.